In this video, I've got a partner success call with Jerome, one of our partnering real estate agents out of Florida, on how he recently joined our $198 program and got 3 renters and 2 buyers under contract in just 32 days. If you're a real estate agent wondering if we might be able to partner up with you and do the same, there'll be a link down in the description to grab a call with me or someone from the team. Either way, let's go ahead and hop into this call with Jerome to figure out what he's doing and how he's seeing success within his real estate business, so you might be able to copy his processes and do the same.
Trisha, she wanted to buy in Dade County. So after talking with him last week, I'm like, yeah, it makes no sense for me to chase that lead. It's more better for him to go with that.
Yeah, I was also just talking to him too. I think that'll be really good because I'm like, we're all going to be kind of doing like talking about the same stuff. So I really wanted to run over just maybe offer creation with you. I just ran over with Richard and he was kind of like blown away with this. He was like, holy crap. Like, yes, I understand now. If I was maybe using this verbiage instead of this, it'd be making a lot bigger of a difference. And I know you're our, like, I checked your account. I see we got 500 contract now or something. I don't know. Was that another renter or a buyer or what was
it? So I think I got like 3 renters and 2 buyers.
Nice money, man. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Great. Yeah, I wanted to, we were talking about just like offers. So we were just like offers across the board. And by the way, I also checked out your Instagram and I think this would be super helpful if you just wanted to incorporate this in any videos or any posts or stuff like that.
Sure.
But basically, I was just on a call with Chris from Chattanooga and he's been with us for a while. He's actually got a closing on April 8th coming up, which is exciting for him. But we were talking about just how can we just get more of these people? Like they're there, they want to buy, but it's just like I'm losing them. They drop off. There's too much volume. There's just too much like to keep a hold of. And so we were talking about just like how can we convert more of these people off the top? We're always going to have that percentage of leads that transfer. We're always going to have that percentage of transfers that end up going under contract and then closing. How can we do less follow-up and just increase those numbers that are just kind of the now, I guess, essentially. And we were kind of just running over offer creation and we threw some stuff in ChatGPT and we were coming up with one of the best ones that we came up with Chris and also Richard was something like, let me see here. It was, where are we at here? Find your dream home in 30 days or we pay you $1,000. Like something like that, where it's like it just so jumps out at these people. Where you're probably not going to find them their dream home in 30 days. Like, let's say already count the $1,000 out. Assume you're always going to have to take the $30,000 out of your commission check at the closing table. But what it does is it's like, okay, who cares if it's $1,000 out of your commission if the commission you never had in the first place? But it's because you have that big, bold offer out there that these people could attach onto, which is like, they're jumping at. And I wanted to talk to you also about if you had some offer that you've been slinging, because I just don't know how, like, you've been seeing a lot of success compared to like our average agent, like genuinely like above average. So I'm just wondering kind of really, I just want to know more about, you know, what
I'm doing. So usually what I think the biggest thing we talk about offers, what I usually do is like say, I usually literally, like I was telling you before, I was like, hey, I'll do a basic home search for you just so that we can just see what's available to you. And I think that's always usually attractive because it's like, hey, let's say the live transfer comes through, and then the first thing I do is once the live transfer comes through, and I talk with them and say, hey, I'd love to talk with you, love to meet with you. What I'm going to do now, though, I'm going to text you some properties that fit your criteria that you're looking for, and then like usually everybody's like, oh, okay, perfect, you know, and usually they'll respond, and then now it's a conversation point of, hey, let me know what you think, and if they like it, okay, well, great, let's set up a time to talk further about what your needs are. And usually that's been pretty good. That's been able to get me the meetings, or a lot of times they'll follow up with me like, hey, I don't like this. Could you show me more of these kind of thing? And then and my thing is once it's time to go show them the property, I'm like, I'm glad you like it. I'm like, understand though, before I can show you, this is the agreement kind of thing. We have to go.
Yep.
Okay, so then that way everything's out front, you know.
Okay, so you're doing the list. So this is very surprising to me because this is what we tell our agents not to do because it's like they get ghosted. So I'm wondering if maybe you're just like seriously like on the phones, like you are just constantly texting, you're constantly calling. Because Richard, for example, you know, he sets them up on the home search. He does the, hey, I've got you on the home search. If you see anything you like, let me know. Let's call. And then I tell them, but don't stop it there because they're gonna ghost. I say, you know, get them that home search, then say your big offer, which for Jacob out of Indy, I think I've already told you he's got like the name your commission program, and now we're looking at even better stuff like So kind of like the script we're telling them to use is, great, I've got you set up on that home search. In the meantime, have you heard about our Dream Home in 30 Days or $1,000 program
That
to
makes sense.
really get
Yeah.
them like get that
And I
kind of
think it's just usually, but not to cut you off, but usually with the renters I'm getting, I've noticed they need to move as soon as possible. So it's like, so
right.
so I think it's helpful for them that, hey, you're sending me something now to show that you care, as opposed to I'm gonna put you on a home search. Because literally what happens is it's easy for me to do a home search on my Keller Williams app. So all I do is just punch in their what they're looking for, and I literally just say, hey, here's 3 or 4 homes, literally. And I usually, once I get off the phone with the live transfer, I try to do it within 10 to 15 minutes of talking to them, so at least I'm top of mind. And then now
Yep.
it's all dialogue going. So I think that part of it with the renters, because like the renters I've been seeing, they need to rent within the next
Right.
10 to 15 days, so they don't got time for me to go look too much. It's like they want to, for me, I think it shows how intent I am, because then they'll find something they really like, and it's like, hey, when can we see it? Then that's when I get the agreement.
Yeah.
With
Are
the
you
buyers,
gonna lose them?
yeah, we're going to lose them. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, so with the buyers, the people that have been buying, what I've been doing is the company I do my lender, my preferred lender, he does a situation where they'll give you $1,000 towards closing, or you
Okay.
can use 500 towards your inspection and your appraisal. So like I usually try to play off of him instead of me, money out of my pockets. They something they already have. I've signed up with them, and say, hey, if you use my preferred lender, he gives you $1,000 towards closing, or he'll give you $1,000 to use for 500 for your appraisal and your inspection. And usually that's like, oh, okay, that's great,
Perfect. So you do have an offer. Okay, so that's the offer essentially is a free $1,000. It's
Right.
hey, well, sounds good. I'm gonna get you that list. In the
Mhm.
meantime, are you pre-approved? Because I just want to maybe get you in touch with my preferred lender. They
Right.
put
Yeah.
$1,000. They put $1,000 towards your purchase, whether it be closing costs, appraisal. Okay, gotcha. So
Yeah.
so
So that's just usually
perfect.
for the buyers. Like I said, for the renters, it's like that. I make the biggest thing,
Right.
me being on top of it and just helping them out through the process. Because when a lot of times that's live transfer, a lot of them are panicky because they're like, I need to move at the end of this month, or
Yeah.
whatever. Or like, for example, I'm working with a guy. He's a renter. His name's Woodrow. And like in his situation, he has a 80-pound pit bull. And so it's like, well, good luck usually, because most of those places are not renting to that. So what I told him is
Yeah.
like, I was like,
That's
here,
like a whole nother. That's a whole nother body.
correct, exactly. And then plus because of the fear of the breed, people don't want to deal with it. So what I told him was like, I'll help you out. I'm like, what I'll do is I'll do a little work on the front end just to show my worth of, hey, let me go talk to these people before we even go look at a property, because it makes no sense for us to go fall in love with the property for them to say, no, we don't take your dog.
Right. And then so that's you literally putting yourself out there saying, hey man, I don't want you wasting your time. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
just gonna start sending you options that isn't available. Like let me do
Correct.
my work and what my job is. And obviously they're gonna see through that. And so really just a mix of being yourself, obviously being
Mm-hmm.
quick with the renters and then being quick also with the buyers, but having that offer in place
Mm-hmm.
of $1,000 essentially for free. That's one thing that I would probably recommend to any agent out there. Like if you don't have an offer, that
Yeah.
is huge. You have to have an offer in place because
Yeah.
people aren't coming in for you off these. Like
Correct.
with cold traffic, like obviously referrals are, but
Right.
cold traffic, if you're getting someone from an app or a cold call or something like that, they don't
Mm-hmm.
care who Jerome is. They don't know Jerome.
No.
They want you off the phone. So if it's
Correct.
I can give you $1,000, then their ears are listening because it's about the
Correct.
offer instead of you. And then but people think, oh well, I don't want to work with people I don't like. Well, that's just to get them in the door. They like you
Correct.
eventually. Like once
Correct.
you help them out and you connect with them,
Correct.
but you're
Yeah.
just not important right now. It's like once you
Correct.
get them in the door, then you're important and the type of
Yeah.
person you're.
Kind of talk what I was talking to Richard about. It's about building rapport. Once you build the rapport with them, then yes, because like now I'm working with a renter and her mother, or the mother actually fell out that was the lead, but then the daughter became the like pretty much the point person. So now we're
Yep.
working together on different things and try to get her through on this rental. Well, obviously the more you dig through it, like in their situation, now it's one of those. She calls me, she's like, "What do you think about this? What do you think about this, Jerome? What do you?" So it's one of those we're trying
Yeah.
to bond it together through this process, just because I've been attentive to their needs for the most part.
Yeah, I like it. And I know in some markets like renting isn't really an option. Like rental
Mhm.
deals, you just can't make as much money. So on the buy side of things, just focusing there, like yeah, I think any agent, as long as they just have an irresistible offer in
Mhm.
place and they're quick, there's no reason they should be missing out on these people like these
No,
type of deals that we're
I
getting.
would agree. I would agree, because ultimately, it's like as long as you have, like you said, something to offer them, and just like better than, like, I know a lot of times at Keller Williams they talk about, what your value proposition is. And like I think that's all well and good, but nobody wants to hear about your value proposition if you don't have anything to get them excited to begin with. Like kind of what you're saying,
Right.
you know. And I
Yep.
think probably one of the differences between some of your other agents that have probably used this program and me is, you know, I recruited for a living. Like that's all I did coaching college football is I called people and talked about our college and had something of, hey, we got scholarships or whatever. So now to me, it's a similar deal. I don't see a difference in it. It's just different wording in a different. I'm selling a different product, if you will.
Interesting. I love that. So it's like, yeah, like you got 10 colleges lined up. Why would someone pick yours? And it's like you've got like, no different than having 10 agents lined up. Why would someone pick Jerome? Like they're not picking it because the school's got the best colors or, you know, maybe the most reviews. That stuff might matter, but on the front end, it's going to be the bigger value propositions in the back end. And it's specifically to a home buyer or seller, just like you'd be specifically talking to a specific sport or something.
Right.
And
like
different interests for different people and different positions in sports that they're in. So I definitely think that's cool. That's a good comparison there. Awesome. Well, yeah. Is there anything that you wanted to really run over? Like I know you might be seeing success, but I know you can always have more. So is there anything that you wanted to run over? Any questions you had?
No, not so much question. I guess twofold. Not so much question. I think with the ISAs, like Ben does a great job. He's by far your best. ISAs.
Ben is good. Ben is good. Yeah, he's one of the lead ISAs.
And then, but the issue I run into, like for example, like with Joy, like earlier this week, she called me and I was like, I'm like, okay, and I was like, I got a live transfer for you, and she's like, I'm like, well, she has a 560 credit score. I'm like, that's below. I'm like, I can't do nothing with that. You know, she's like, but they're on the phone. I'm like, I don't care. I can't do nothing like that. I was like, and she's like, well, they got a 560 credit score and they have the money. I'm like, I don't care if they have the money. I can't do nothing with it. I'm like, obviously you got them on hold, and so I got to take the call now. And then I'm already going to pay for this call. But please don't send me anybody that doesn't fit this criteria. You know,
which one was that? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I know it was a couple of days ago. Let me see if I can look at it on the thing. But that was kind of like the frustrating part. Is like, well, you know, we've already got the criteria set. So why are you sending me people that don't fit, you know?
Yeah, because she obviously knew if she told you ahead of time, like, hey, this is a 560 credit score. And then it can be the type of thing where I know a lot of it, like sometimes maybe they think it's a good opportunity to get over to you and maybe you can make something happen out of it. But yeah, you can always turn those away. Which I know you obviously, it seems like you tried, but if it's like, hey, no, like I told Mason that I literally cannot help someone with that low of a credit score. They physically can't get a property. I don't want to get their hopes up. Just go back to them and tell them that I'm out of office. You can definitely do that because I don't want to make sure you're getting charged for anything like that. So and obviously too, we can obviously collaborate too and credit, but if you're just not charged for it originally, is always better.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was getting at. I think if I remember correctly, I believe it was Roseanne. You know, and like her name, like cause it was a live transfer that I took, and I talked with her, but I didn't get to set a meeting with her. But like, yeah, that was kind of the thing. I'm like, I can't really do much. Or even just, I had one this morning with her name's Nakia. You know, like ISA Nakaia, Nakia. Like
that would have been Ben.
Yeah, you know, and we were talking. I'm like, okay, great, Ben, but and I think he thought it was a great opportunity, but I'm like, I can't do nothing if because what was her parameters? I'm sure I see bring this up. Like, yeah, this one had a bad credit score too, and I'm like, I can't do nothing with that. And I'm like, I know you got me on the phone, but it's like, I'll turn this off. Good. But it's just like that's kind of been the issue that I've been finding is I understand they want to help people out. I understand they want to do it, but like some of this stuff, they're like, I can't do nothing with. You know, and I talked to Nakia, and I think she's going to be nice and well enough, but then, I'm like, there's nothing real I can do. Like, it's kind of frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, just always like, you're always free to turn those away and just say, hey, tell them not an office and, hang up if you need to. I know you obviously don't want to have to hang up on them because that's just rude. But, if you do have to do that, I completely understand on that side of things. I'm going to check. You said, so Nakia or whatever, Nakai from Ben, and then the other one was Rosemary.
I believe so. I know it was a couple days ago. I know Joy was the ISA that sent it over.
Okay, not gonna be Rosemary then, because that was Ben. Maybe Roseanne.
Yeah, Roseanne. Okay, it's Roseanne and Rosemary. Sorry. Yeah.
Yep, I'm gonna check that one as well.
Yeah, it's just because, like I said, overall they've been good. You know, like I said, Ben does a great job of because even he'll come in. Sometimes he'll call me before he even transfers a call, or he'll say, "Hey, I got some text for you of hey, here's the parameters. Can you work with that?" And sometimes I'm like, we might be able. Sometimes I'm like, nah, Ben, we can't make that happen.
Yeah, you're always free to turn them away if they don't meet your criteria. Now, obviously, like this is kind of a little bit with you, different. Like if we have some agents where it's like if it's good price range and stuff like that, then there's no reason to turn that away. Like we're gonna be like, hey, what the heck, Jerome, why'd you turn that away? But if it's a
Right.
type of situation like that, I'm never gonna be frustrated at you for turning that away. Something that you literally can't help. It's you wasting someone's time, getting their hopes up,
Correct.
and
No reason. Yeah.
wasting your time as well. So.
And I guess that was the thing too. Like when I was talking to Joy, she seemed like she was like very like mystified as to why I didn't want to take this call. I was like, I can't do nothing with this. I was like, and she like, but they're on the phone. I'm like,
I don't care. They don't meet the criteria. Like, why
yeah,
did you? You're gonna ask too, like, why are you trying to transfer it over if the credit score is low? And I guess just
right,
see what she says. Maybe she has a rebuttal, like they said they're getting it up or something like that. But
right,
if she has no rebuttal and she's just because they obviously do get compensated for getting the transfer, so they're trying to get as
correct.
many transfers as possible. But
And
we
I
do
get
have a
that.
but we do have a point scoring criteria. So we have like if it's a really good transfer, it's 5 points. We have like our ISA manager goes in and after every transfer, they get a notification to review it. They score
Right,
based on a few different things like tonality, actual lead quality, and stuff like that. And so they are incentivized at the end of the month on whoever has the best score. So it's not always the ISA with the most amount of transfers gets compensation because of our scoring system, but
right.
still a lot of the time they're trying to get those transfers over. So sometimes they can just be trying to get their score up or whatever it is.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that too. And I was
Yeah,
just like, I'm like, well, like I'm like, because like I said, I think at that time I was at the point where I was already past my like my credit, my free credit. So I knew like, okay, I'm gonna get paid for this. I'm gonna charge for this call, and whether or not I pick it up. So and then when it's just kind of just disheartening because it's like, well, shit, man, you're like, what are we doing, and then except, but Ben by far is your best. He's your most dogged too. I thought it was funny because I was doing a home consultation with the buyer just to finish it up, kind of get his paperwork finished so he can get it pre-approved. He's like, "Can you take a call?" I'm like, "I really can't, Ben." I'm like, "Less is important." He's like, "You're the backup." Didn't answer. I'm like, "All right, I can take the call." Then I was like, "All right." So, but because I did it, I followed up with my backup guy. He was doing a consultation too. So it's just kind of
nice,
what it is.
nice. Yeah, you guys are just working. Yeah, you're all good. Yeah, never feel down about those because I'm always gonna be the type to communicate with you. And if you need a credit, there's a credit there. So never
Yeah,
get down on that. And even too, like if it's a type of situation where you're obviously getting a lot of money in the door and you want to look at a possible like another bulk buy, like you just let me know. We can work something out for you, whatever makes the
yeah,
most sense for you. Just want to make sure that we're doing the best for you. But yeah, I appreciate that because I just highlighted all those on our tracker sheet in light
yeah,
red. So I'll go back in. I'll make sure that, and also too, if we have to credit a client, they don't get compensated for that. So it's positive reinforcement, like not doing that because they just don't get compensated anyway. So
correct.
it's like they know that if that they get a crappy transfer that comes over and we have to credit a client, that compensation gets taken out. So it incentivizes them not to do so.
All right.
So
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
so that's all. Kind of like I said, those so far that's only been the small issue just this week. And other than that, it's been pretty good. It's like as the calls that come through, it seems like now what I've noticed at least on like obviously working with you all, but in the situation too, just with other people I've been talking to, the rental market is starting to heat up a little bit, and I think a lot of leases are coming due. Obviously, we're getting the end of the school year too, so a lot of people are looking for a new place. So a lot of those calls are coming through. But actually, too, believe it or not, the buyers are coming off the sidelines a little bit. I've gotten like the most recent ones that have come through. They actually have been in a situation where they've been ready to buy. Like so, for example, I think Terry is one of the ones that I have an appointment set with. After talking with them, they're going to probably list their house and they're probably going to pay cash for the next house. So that was really
perfect.
cool. I meet with them on the
Oh,
20th.
nice, nice. See, that's perfect. That's exactly the dream lead we can get off those downsizer ads. That's why the downsizing strategy is so killer. You get like 5 to 15% of the leads need to sell a current property or something like that, and then you're getting them at a price of a buyer though. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're literally getting $2 leads for you or $3 leads or whatever it is in the door.
Yeah,
Like it's insane. It's insane. Like
yeah.
it's easy.
So that was an exciting call because they're like, they're an elderly couple. They were excited. So I'll follow up with them probably this week just to confirm and everything. But they're like, yeah, we want to buy in Port St. Lucie. We like, we're probably gonna buy it cash. I'm like, what are you living at currently? They're like, oh, we probably got to need to sell this before we can buy it with cash. I'm like, well, yeah, I can help with both. I was like, and so after hearing what they were looking for, and everything, we set up, like I said, we set up a meeting, and now looking forward to meeting with them and talking with them and kind of going from there.
Wow, wow, damn, people must like you, Jerome. I'm telling you, like, I'm telling you, any of my other clients do that. They're just like getting ghosted. They're like, yeah, I had this really great lead. They're looking to buy and sell, but I haven't heard from them in a week. I haven't heard from them in 2 weeks. It's
Yeah.
like, well, we're gonna have to dissect you, man. We're gonna have to get you coaching or something.
Yeah. Well, I think biggest thing is I don't try to be pushy. I just try to ask questions and try to figure it out. I think sometimes, like, you've ever heard the term commission breath?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so
70% of agents last year probably had that because they didn't get a single transaction.
Yeah, and I think that's the difficult part. That's why it's like, well, with me, I'm like, if we can just get some renters in the door, and luckily I was closing some rentals before I worked with you all, then I had some money already. You don't have the commission breath part. You don't have that, oh shit, I gotta get this sale, because if I don't get this sale, I don't eat, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I can say the same exact thing sitting on the other side of the screen. Like, when we can just help agents, and when they come online, and we can say, look, we got the system. Like, we're not the one with the problem here. You're the one that wants to buy or sell your property. Like, I can help you do that, get you $1,000 at the closing table. But if you don't want to use me, I fully understand.
Correct.
And being able to take that approach, opposed to like, no, like, please use me, I'll do the best I can. Like, they just see that coming off of you.
Right.
And yeah, it definitely helps because they also know you're just coming from a standpoint to genuinely be able to help, and you get your compensation at the end of the deal. And two, what's very interesting about your industry is you do get paid after the job is finished. So it's like, it's not like you're asking for money up front. So yeah, definitely get it. Which that's why I wonder why, the real estate industry is so frowned upon when you guys don't get paid up front. Like, you guys, it's not like you're asking the people have to put $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 deposit down on you guys.
Right.
It's only after I do my job that you ever even have to compensate me. And yet you guys still get a good amount of backlash. But
Yeah,
I honestly think that'll clear up sooner or later. People are realizing that real estate ain't just this easy sailboat industry that people always thought it was.
No, it's a lot of skill. And then I think the other part of it too, that when you talk about people getting, real estate agents getting a bad rap, is truly the ones that are like that are pushy, that make you feel uncomfortable, that like that had come out with, I just think about living down here, they had the slick back hair, that are wearing a 3-piece suit, that talking slick the whole time instead of just really just helping people through the process. And I think part of it too is what I've been finding is like some of the people that are coming through that are buyers, it's their first time homeowners. They'll be first time homeowners. So a lot of times I talk about those things too, because I can experience that, because I've been experiencing that, because my wife and I are first time home buyers. So I can say, hey, that's been kind of one of the things when I talk with somebody that was interested in buying a home. I'm like, oh, I've been through that process. I understand what that is. And like, if we work together, then I can definitely help you make this easy as possible, kind of thing. So I think it's all about the tone, like you talk about a little bit earlier with the ISAs, and then how you go about the business of making sure everybody has what they need.
Yep. I agree 100%. I 100% agree. Also too, like the agents that, like, you can't tell if they're just being nice to you because they hopefully hope that you'll be able to buy or sell a house in the future. One of my buddies, he runs a real estate agency, and we're very close. He was talking about, he had a client come in and said it's a lot of our clientele by networking at pickleball, and it's like, do you want to play pickleball and just be able to have fun with your friends, or do you want to feel like you're selling these people 24/7? Like, I know there can be a happy medium. I know there can be kind of a in the middle. When you're at a dinner, you can slip that in there that you're a real estate agent when people ask about your career. I get that, but if you make it you make it the priority without someone ever asking or it ever coming up, that's when it becomes an issue, and you have what you said, that commission breath.
Right, yeah, it's a little off-putting, if you just sit there and say that. But generally, if somebody's like, hey, how's the market? Like, hey, this is what I've heard about the market. Like, that's a little easier, if it's brought up, because usually every conversation has a little bit of real estate in it somewhere, and it's just, and how you can maneuver your way through it to find the happy medium, or to get to where you want to go with it sometimes. Well, like I said, I should be able to do within maybe like a week to 2 weeks because, like I said, I'm working with one lady. We already did a contract at least, but a couple of them I'm still showing. Then a couple of them, and then and then you never know that I got a couple that say, hey, we want to buy, and so I'm like, all right, well, that's going to be another 30 days, but in between, there's probably going to be people that want to rent now. So
Yeah, that's good. That's two one. If you had to say, and then I gotta run from here in a couple minutes,
sure.
but if you had to say what percentage of the renters usually end up buying anyway, like end up trying to buy or looking to
Trying to
buy?
buy a good number, because I think a lot of them are not
Oh,
aware of what the market is. So, like for example, I go back to the lady that I'm working with on the renter that we did a contract to lease today. She's a lawyer that lives with her mom, and like her mom his name is Denise, and so that's the one that's on the contract. Her name's Denise, but the lady's name's Rachel. Well, Rachel's a lawyer, and Rachel's credit score is over 700, and she
wow.
has 3 dogs. And I was talking to her, I'm like, well, you might be in better shape to buy just because you have the credit score, you have the income. She makes over 100K. So I'm like, it makes better sense for you to buy, just especially with the 3 dogs, because you try to rent with 3 dogs. We already went to one place already told us they're not interested in doing that. So it's kind of hard with that because like she's not like if they're not interested, not much we can do.
Okay, I heard pretty much everything you said
Yeah,
about the lawyer, and then she had like some dogs or something, and she was
yeah, she
looking
has
to
three
rent.
dogs. And she's trying to rent with 3 dogs. And I'm like, good luck. It was like kind of thing. He's like,
Yeah,
you're better off buying. Now she said to her credit, which I can respect, she wants to wait. She wants to wait a little bit longer. And I get that. I told her because she although I think her reason is a little bit off because she talks about she's like, well, hopefully the economy will tank a little bit and we get cheaper prices. I'm like, well, that's a big hope.
yeah,
Because
right.
I was like, you're not going to get those interest rates or anything like that. And plus, if you're tanking, your income's not going to be the same potentially.
Yeah, and two, like being a lawyer, I mean, I'm sure you've done your job, but I think that might even be just the pitch of like, hey, look, loaning a home is such a big investment. Like
Right.
the interest does not matter compared to how much your house is going to grow or whatever. And
Right.
equity, at the end of the day, worst case scenario, it'll ideally be a break even. And if you need to sell, you can always sell, upgrade to your
Right.
dream house. This is how to be
Right.
your dream house right now.
Correct.
Uh, Conversations like that, I'm sure you have though.
Yeah, and then she got because the more we talked about it, they had scar tissue from 2008. She did own a home and she had to go short sale. So I think she's really, kind of one of those like so into that. So I was like, it's like she said she rent for a year. I'll keep cultivating because she's the same one that keeps calling me about the renters and everything. So I think we just keep cultivating and we can turn that into a buyer pretty soon.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm glad to see all the conversations that you're having.
Like I think you guys, like I said, you guys are doing an unbelievable job. It's really great. This is kind of what I envisioned when I said, hey, I signed on and start a partnership with you guys because ultimately, like, you guys have made it a lot easier for me to do my job. Insofar as that, you guys are talking to people and to get my name out there and help me out, and then now all of a sudden I can just take those and run with it. As opposed to
Yep.
having to spend hours cold calling and talking with people. Then on top of that, trying to catch up with everybody else, and then hope everything. Because you almost feel like you're chasing your tail after a while.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure you talked to some of your colleagues, and they're doing everything A to Z from their own lead generation to all these calls, and you're literally in the line of business, which is buying your time back and delegating. Like for
Mm-hmm.
example, I used to do a lot of like the ads work, and so there's probably not going to be very many people out there that I can hire at a good rate
Right.
that are going to be able to do the ads better than me. But at the end of the day, you got to let go of that ego and you got to put that person in place so that you can buy your time back. Now, I probably don't spend anywhere from 8 hours a week working on ads anymore. I'm just fully able to work with clients, work on their success and things like that, and
Yeah.
better the results for the agents that I'm partnering with. So, yeah, sometimes you got to let go of that, put other people in place and outsource because ultimately your time is the most important asset you have.
Correct.
Even if it's like a 1.5x ROI, it's like, well, that whole
Right.
entire department is done for me, then, it's worth it because your time is priceless. So I
I
appreciate
agree.
it. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I appreciate all the kind words. I think we'll take it from there. If you need absolutely anything, you know how to reach us. If you ever need a
Yep.
video, feel free to ask. I'm going to look into some of those calls for you here. I'll let you know the verdict on any of them
Yep.
in regards to credits, and then I'll also shoot you over a proposal for the transfers as well.
Okay. Perfect.